There is a silent code, engraved into the foundation of your very being, that determines with absolute precision every event, every scent, and every opportunity that crosses your path. Most people spend their entire lives trying to change the external world through brute force, anxiety, and physical exhaustion. They work to the limit of their strength, accumulate worries in their chest, and cry in the dark of their room, begging for a breakthrough. However, upon opening their eyes to each new dawn, they find strictly the same locked reality, the same suffocating bills, and the same bitter feeling of helplessness. The cruel and silent error was never in your dignity as a worker, nor in your sincere goodwill to overcome. The error lies in the indisputable fact that you have been trying to alter your existence on the totally wrong plane. Your conscious mind acts merely as a small surface, while your subconscious mind is the infinite ocean where your reality is shaped before taking body and weight in the world of the senses. If your internal frequency is tuned to lack, pain, or uncertainty, no muscular effort in the physical world will be capable of generating sustainable prosperity. When you approach life seized by the terror of scarcity, your secret emotion is not one of victory. It is one of absolute terror. And your subconscious, which functions as a mathematical, impersonal, and neutral law, does not analyze whether that thought causes you to suffer. It captures the real feeling dwelling in the depths of your soul and accepts it as a supreme instruction of command. The more you despair to get out of debt using the force of your analytical intellect, the more the deep mind interprets that terror and multiplies the reasons for your ruin. It is the devastating law of reversed effort, operating silently to maintain your bonds. What would your life be like if you discovered that abundance is not something you need to chase in the external world, but rather a state of consciousness that you tune into within? Why do you continue accepting the crumbs of limitation when the very source that created the universes dwells in the center of your chest? Your subconscious is a plastic and living matrix. It reacts solely and exclusively to the vibrational frequency with which you feed your soul in moments of quietude. As long as you continue looking at the balance of your bank account and allowing appearances to dictate your faith, you will remain imprisoned in the same cycle of scarcity. To understand the overwhelming force of this vibrational tuning and the way it alters matter inevitably, consider the real case of Eleanor Vance in 1953 in the city of Boston. Eleanor was a 41-year-old music teacher who found herself sunk in a suffocating spiral of debt following the abrupt loss of her private studio. Every night, as she sat at her small dark wood coffee table, the air in the apartment smelled of old paper, cold tea, and the dust accumulated on the heavy living room curtains. Eleanor's chest contracted in an unbearable physical tightness. Her hands trembled as she arranged the collection letters, accumulating under the yellowish light of an old lamp, and a chronic headache prevented her from resting. She spent hours of the early morning bending her knees beside her bed, begging in tears for Providence to send a miracle to cover next month's rent. However, in the exact millisecond she stood up from the floor, the feeling governing her soul was the absolute certainty of failure and the shame of not honoring her commitments. Eleanor used all her conscious strength to cry out for prosperity, but breathed, felt, and slept on the frequency of total scarcity. As the subconscious mind is a neutral soil that faithfully multiplies the seed of the dominant feeling, Eleanor's life sank into new litigation, loss of students, and a terrifying financial isolation. Her desperate prayer was, in reality, a vehement decree of destruction. Her own mind was the invisible barrier keeping all doors of supply locked under key. The definitive turning point only occurred when Eleanor understood the hidden structure of her deep mind and realized the trap in which she had imprisoned herself. She discovered that the subconscious does not respond to words of supplication uttered in terror, but rather to the subjective alignment with the solution already realized. By abandoning the habit of crying over invoices and beginning to practice the silent tuning of opulence for 21 consecutive days before a dormicer, the energy surrounding her path underwent a complete revolution. The very space that seemed doomed was approached by a renowned arts academy for exclusive consulting, clearing in a few weeks the liabilities that had haunted her for years. Say this out loud, or repeat it silently in your heart. my subconscious mind tunes into the frequency of my infinite wealth now. What took place in Eleanor Vance's journey was not a fortuitous event, nor a special favor granted by circumstances. It was the precise and rigorous application of what we call here on the channel the code of subjective tuning. This exclusive concept reveals an eternal truth. Your material reality will never deliver to you what you desire on the outside. It will deliver solely and exclusively that which you feel to be your truth on the inside. Abundance is a spiritual radio frequency that is already broadcasting its blessings at this very moment. Your only role is to adjust the dial of your mind to capture that signal. The vast majority of men and women spend their entire existence trying to change the music playing on the radio by breaking the device with their bare hands. They switch jobs, cut essential expenses, work to the limit of physical exhaustion, and accumulate an overwhelming fatigue in the soul. Yet, they continue carrying the same internal frequency of fear, rejection, and smallness. As long as your mental station is tuned to the channel of scarcity, all the opportunities in the world will pass before your eyes without you being able to seize them. It is for this exact reason that I invite you to walk with me daily on this journey of transformation and enlightenment. Be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel. Follow these simple steps with discipline and watch your own life unlock and your reality transform as you reprogram your deep mind. When you alter your internal frequency in the silence of your soul, the external world has no choice but to bow to the new pattern you established. Your external reality is merely the exact photographic projection of the state of consciousness you cultivate in your intimacy. There is no power in the universe punishing you with stagnation or lack of resources. What exists is your own subconscious mind executing with mathematical perfection the thought mold you deliver to it every day. Say this out loud, or repeat it silently in your heart. Infinite intelligence is my source and supplies me with all good. Reflect with deep gravity upon how you have been feeding your inner temple in your hours of pause. What is the music your mind plays at the instant you close your eyes to rest? If your consciousness occupies itself with repeating images of debt, overdue deadlines, and uncertainties about the future, understand that you are manually pulling the lever of your own limitation. Deactivate now this compulsive need to fight life through blind rushing and suffering. Allow the serenity of the Supreme Mind to occupy the space where the storm of your anxiety once reigned. The moment you adjust your frequency to peace and to the certainty of divine provision, the invisible barriers that seemed insurmountable dissolve into thin air, revealing the unlimited abundance that has always been waiting for you. The mechanics governing your deep mind knows no rest, vacations, or intellectual breaks. It operates under the inflexible command of one of the most sacred pillars of subconscious philosophy, the law of divine wealth and prosperity. This universal law establishes that poverty is not a spiritual virtue, nor a blessed trial sent by God to test your dignity. Poverty is a mental pathology, a state of severe misalignment with the natural flow of creation. To understand with absolute clarity how your subconscious processes and materializes this reality, consider the classic metaphor of the soil and the seed. Your subconscious mind functions exactly like the black fertile soil of a garden. While your conscious mind acts as the farmer tasked with choosing and depositing the seeds, the soil possesses no moral judgment or analytical discernment. It asks no questions about the farmer's intention and never discriminates against the nature of the plant it will nourish. If the farmer deposits in the earth the seed of a majestic oak, the soil welcomes that seed with total submission and mobilizes all the hidden nutrients of nature to germinate a giant tree on the surface. But if that same man deposits in the soil the seed of a poisonous plant loaded with thorns and toxins, the soil will welcome that seed with the exact same mathematical fidelity, using the same energy to raise the poison before the eyes of the world. The overwhelming majority of men and women spend their days fertilizing the soil of the deep mind with seeds of despair, indignation, and terror of scarcity. Upon consuming news of crisis, participating in conversations about lack of resources, and feeling tightness in their chest before debts accumulating, they are driving seeds of destruction into the living earth of infinite intelligence. And when the inevitable harvest brings more debt, more scarcity, and more reasons for despair, They accuse fate and cry in silence, without realizing that the soil merely fulfilled its role of multiplying with perfection the seed delivered to it. Say this out loud, or repeat it silently in your heart. My deep mind welcomes only seeds of peace and opulence. Consider now the metaphor of the captain on the bridge of a gigantic ocean liner in the middle of the sea. Your conscious mind represents the captain remaining on the surface, observing the stars, evaluating storms, and issuing direct orders via the engine order telegraph. Your subconscious mind represents the crew of engineers and stokers installed in the depths of the ship, inside the engine room. The men working in the engine room do not see the ocean, do not evaluate ocean currents, and have no permission to question the captain's charts. If the captain, seized by a surge of panic or emotional blindness, issues a direct order to turn the rudder toward the rocks and accelerate the engines to the maximum, the sailors in the depths will simply obey the instruction without hesitating. They will move the levers with precision, and the ship will be dashed against the stones. For years, you have acted as a blind and fearful captain on the bridge of your own existence. Looking at the challenges of the financial world, you panic and begin sending repeated orders of helplessness, limitation, and lack down to the engine room of your subconscious, and your invisible crew has fulfilled those orders with terrifying precision. Your subconscious does not argue the truth of your fears. It merely executes the command it received. It is urgent to deconstruct the greatest limiting belief imprisoning humanity in the captivity of lack. The false idea that money is the root of all evil or something difficult to achieve. Money is nothing more than the expression of divine substance, manifested in the form of exchange, service, beauty, and utility. Money is a divine idea, circulating freely when the mind harmonizes with the creative source. Thomas Trower demonstrated that the one substance is infinitely plastic and responds to the form human mind imprints upon it. Say this out loud, or repeat it silently in your heart. God's wealth circulates in my life in avalanches of abundance. Think now of the cinema projector metaphor. Your material life, with all its circumstances, unpaid bills and opportunities, is merely the white screen where images are being displayed. Trying to alter your financial situation by fighting with the outer world, despairing, or working until physical collapse is the same as running to the cloth screen and trying to tear the projected image with your bare hands. It is a violent, futile, and deeply exhausting effort. To permanently alter the movie displayed on the screen of your existence, you must go to the invisible projection room within your soul. You must change the film roll of thought before the beam of light from the supreme mind projects the scene into the world of the senses. This is where lies the need to practice what we call on the channel the Vibrational Alignment Filter. This method consists of refusing the evidence of the physical senses when they point to lack and anchoring your consciousness in the certainty of invisible opulence. When you cleanse your subconscious of the residue of envy, resentment, and smallness, the energy of prosperity circulates once again in your experience with the force of a spring tide. Doors that seemed solidly locked open without a sound. Profitable ideas emerge in the silence of your intuition, and plenty becomes your natural state of existence. Nature knows no scarcity. Forests grow in abundance, oceans overflow with life, and the cosmos houses billions of galaxies without any rationing. When you accept scarcity as normal or inevitable on your journey, you are denying your own divine heritage. You were born to prosper, to expand, and to express the glory of the Supreme Mind in all areas of your life. Be with me every day here on the channel and watch your own life transform and unlock as you follow these simple steps and apply the laws of the mind. When you take responsibility for what you cultivate in the silence of your soul, the external world will bow to the new command of abundance you established within. There is a state of sacred quietude, an infinite calm taking hold of every fiber of your being the instant you finally understand that the universe does not demand your desperate struggle nor your physical fatigue. The answer to every one of your prayers was already conceived on the plane of the Supreme Mind, even before your reason could articulate the first word. The reason so many people spend years imprisoned in the clutches of financial scarcity, suffocating debt, or emotional despair is that they insist on praying from the vibration of the problem itself. They try to bargain with the divine source, offering their tears, pain, and sweat as if they were bargaining chips. However, the infinite intelligence dwelling in your subconscious is an immutable, loving, and absolutely impersonal law. It never responds to anguish or the disordered supplication of doubt. It responds solely and exclusively to the law of your own subjective acceptance. When you learn to silence your physical senses and apply the decree of power in the half-sleep state with absolute serenity, the resistance of your intellect completely collapses. The knot of anxiety that tightened your chest dissolves like mist before the morning sun, and the invisible substance of life begins to mold external circumstances to reflect your internal victory. To pray scientifically is to align your soul with the perfect conclusion, resting in the unshakable feeling that what you decreed on the spiritual plane has already become an indisputable fact in matter. Approach this moment now with a calm, pacified heart, entirely purified of any resentment, fear, or haste. Disconnect from the demands of the day, drop your shoulders, relax your jaw, and feel the welcoming and protective presence of life covering every inch of your being. We are going to perform at this exact instant a deep spiritual intervention, a sacred decree of liberation and peace to dissolve all the barriers of your subconscious. Breathe deeply and slowly. Let the air renew your energy, and as you exhale, surrender all accumulated anxiety to the Supreme Mind. You are safe. The Divine Presence is in absolute command of your life. Feel the words of scientific prayer penetrate the fertile soil of your deep mind like a blessed rain of restoration. Absorb every spiritual command with the unshakable certainty that transformation has already begun in the invisible. The infinite intelligence dwelling in my subconscious mind is the creative source of the entire universe, and it now dissolves by the power of its silent presence all blocks, limiting beliefs, and patterns of scarcity inscribed in my being. I recognize that absolute peace governs my mind, my home, and my affairs. All discord, fear, limitation, and uncertainty are completely dissolved in the light of supreme truth. The wealth of the Creator flows into my reality in uninterrupted currents of opulence, peace, and prosperity. Money is a divine idea circulating freely in my experience, blessing my path, and multiplying into infinite channels of utility and good. No barrier created by the physical world and no limitation imposed by men can halt the progress of my journey. Because infinite wisdom opens perfect pathways of victory where before there was only impossibility. I surrender my tomorrow, my finances, and my family to the unshakable protection of the Divine Mind. The peace that surpasses all understanding guards my heart, and I rest in the absolute certainty that everything is already accomplished on the plane of spiritual perfection. I give thanks for the liberation, internal clarity, and infinite wealth materializing now in my present reality. So it is, and so it shall be forever. Feel the authority of this decree echoing in the depths of your spirit. Doubt has been eradicated, and your subconscious has accepted the command of triumph. There is no force in the physical world capable of revoking the spiritual law you have just activated in your deep mind. Repeat now in the silence of your heart this absolute truth. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and establishes perfect opulence in my life now. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and establishes perfect opulence in my life now. Infinite intelligence supplies all my needs and establishes perfect opulence in my life now. You are not a limited or helpless being at the mercy of economic crises or world circumstances. You are the legitimate heir of divine wisdom, the living channel of supreme opulence, endowed with the immeasurable power to rewrite your reality through your deep mind. The blueprint of your victory has already been recorded in the depths of your being, and the Supreme Mind is aligning all events to deliver to you the sacred harvest of your faith. Be with me every day here on the Subconscious Code channel and watch your own life transform and unlock as you follow these simple steps. Subscribe now, leave your like, and share this message to strengthen your mind daily with the immutable laws of the Spirit. Before falling asleep tonight, as you lay your head on the pillow and feel your body relax completely, Refuse any thought of concern or scarcity. Disconnect from the screens of the world. Close your eyes in silence. Place your right hand over the center of your chest and gently repeat the divine word of power like a lullaby for your subconscious. Abundance, abundance, abundance. Fall asleep, lulled by this feeling of realized victory. It is in the blessed silence of your sleep that your subconscious will work to build a radiant, prosperous, and deeply fulfilled tomorrow. Go in peace. The divine mind guards your rest and illuminates your path.